They were now one of No Limit Records' main subjects, and in 1999 became the main subject in one of New Orleans' biggest drug ring and criminal investigations the city has ever seen. Investigators alleged that the brothers distributed large amounts of for Pena sometime prior to 1997, which they initially denied, as well as left out crucial details within their previous testimony. By being signed to No Limit Records, Kane Abel's affiliation with the Pena gang drew Master P's name into the circle, making P somewhat of a suspect, which ultimately put P in the hot seat with the feds.
Welcome to Talk Your Talk YouTube channel, where we provide a lane for those with something to say. I want to say thanks to my good friends over at Rare Report for this video surrounding a drug lord, a record label CEO, and twin rappers by the name of Kane and Abel. Enjoy.
The early 1990s in New Orleans gave birth to several new record labels that were all associated with street life as well as the dope game in one way or another. Master P with No Limit, Baby and Slim with Cash Money, Big Chuck with Big Boy, and Richard Pena had Sheska Records.
Every hood, every project, this from New Orleans, one of the realest cities on earth.
Richard Pena went down in Crescent City crime history as one of the baddest to ever do it, and it wasn't until after his arrest that the entire truth came out. He was referred to as the Scarface of the city and was labeled the most prolific and notorious gangster drug dealer in the history of the NO. His organization was responsible for bringing thousands of kilos into the city over a period of several years and became highly notable in the streets for jacking territory. Unlike most big-timers who run their town, Richard Pena was not born in New Orleans, but grew up on the West Bank after needing from the Dominican Republic. When he appeared on the local drug scene in the early 1990s, he was known to street-level dealers as the Cuban due to his Spanish accent. Pena began associating himself with people from the music industry based on his efforts to give off a legitimate vibe, but his street activities overshadowed his ability to go mainstream in the industry. Through his music venture, he met lots of talent, one of which was the talented rapping duo who went by the name Double Vision.
293, we went over there, met me and X.
Biological twins who were promising students at Xavier University in New Orleans until meeting Richard Pena. After a short run of trying to handle rap business, they decided Sheska Records were not for them, so they left the label but didn't quite leave the Pena family.
Kane Abel, with them boys, Kane Abel. I was trying to slay you, rolling with my gangsters, Kane Abel.
Every time I wake, I thank the Lord for my eyes opening, cause I know some hoes hoping that they close. Me, East Coast born, but down south raised, a wild nigga that they just can't phase, alright?
David and Daniel Garcia, better known to the world as the twin rappers Kane and Abel, and was most known for their successful musical ventures with the Calliope's own No Limit Records.
That's my brother, Mr. Kane, Mr. Abel, 10 G's on the table.
They're originally from the Bronx, New York, but after losing both parents to an early age, they moved down south to Florida, where they lived until they were 15 years old before moving to New Orleans, the city they made their home. They arrived in New Orleans at a time the city's crime rate was uncontainable, but thanks to their passion for rap, desire to be successful, and associates like Richard Pena, their future was looking up. In 1995, the duo hit the music scene and was signed to an independent label called Doro Records, who released their debut album titled Keep Your Eyes Open.
I keep this click tight, call it 18, cause Sean rush the theme, what the Double Vision name means.
Their debut album didn't do the best with sales, but did enough to get the attention of the No Limit giant, Master P. And although P already had an interest in them, sources say the merger between Kane and Abel and No Limit was going to happen regardless, because it's what Richard Pena demanded. Whether Pena demanded it or not, in 1996 the duo signed to No Limit Records, and on October 8, 1996 they released their second album titled Seven Sins.
Wasn't ever no mama I wanna sing, it was mama I wanna slang.
The name of the album is Seven Sins. The Seven Sins, you know, brothers committing these sins every day, you know.
With the No Limit machine behind them, Seven Sins was moderately successful, peaking at 179 on the Billboard 200 and number 29 on the top R&B hip-hop albums chart.
See, these streets, they don't pay to be dumb, and real homies stick together like Kane Abel and P, and down a ride when the time comes.
In 1998, No Limit released Am I My Brother's Keeper, Kane and Abel's third album, last with no limits and most successful album to date.
Stayed up all night, counting $1 million in cash. Kane Abel and P.
Am I My Brother's Keeper was successful, selling 250,000 units in its first week of sales, peaked at number 5 on the Billboard 200, and made it to number 1 on the top R&B hip-hop albums chart.
Serving fiends down in New Orleans, coming out the project, sitting on gold D's.
They were now one of No Limit Records' main subjects, and in 1999 became the main subject in one of New Orleans' biggest drug ring and criminal investigations the city has ever seen. Investigators alleged that the brothers distributed large amounts of cocaine for Pena sometime prior to 1997, which they initially denied, as well as left out crucial details within their previous testimony. By being signed to No Limit Records, Kane Abel's affiliation with the Pena gang drew Master P's name into the circle, making P somewhat of a suspect, which ultimately put P in the hot seat with the feds.
From the bag, tags got my phone tapped, niggas when the phone, the homie got an issue.
P immediately released the twins from No Limit Records and detached himself from them in fear he could get tangled up within the investigation. During the investigation, the brothers were asked to testify against P, but they refused and P was never charged in the case.
Shit like that could get you touched. No mask on, it was us. We murderers.
Kane and Abel were initially charged with conspiracy to possess cocaine with the intent to distribute, but it didn't stick. In the end, they were both sentenced to 3 years in jail due to them admitting to committing misprision of a felony, which means they refused to report or conceal the crime.
We most wanted, strictly season the premises. 20s this nemesis sent first to finish it.
Richard Pena played a major role in the abundance of drugs and wars that took place in the NO during his reign as Kingpin, and there's many stories to tell about it, but the most memorable to the world was after his incarceration. He was arrested on April 19, 1997 in Mississippi for multiple drug trafficking offenses, but once the investigation unfolded, the truth about his vicious business tactics came to light. On July 17, 1998, the indictment came in and Pena was charged with 1 count of engaging in continued criminal enterprise, 2 counts of conspiracy to possess controlled substance with the intent to distribute, 6 counts of murder, 2 counts of conspiracy to commit murder, and several other charges that complemented the life of a kingpin. On January 14, 1999, Pena pled guilty to all charges, which most say was a strategic move in order to avoid the death penalty. On March 11, 1999, he was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of release, as well as received a fine for $2,500,000.
And I don't count sheep, I count hundreds in my sleep. I gotta see at least 100 every week.
Even while going through their legal dramas, the twins never stopped releasing albums. The 2 albums they released through No Limit was a good setup for them to continue their legacy on their own, and that's exactly what they did. On September 21st, 1999, they dropped their 4th album, titled Rise to Power.
Hot roller smoke, big weed, burn cool by the pack. Watch your back, New Orleans is a fool like that.
Rise to Power contained 21 tracks with multiple features by some of the industry's biggest players, which included the hit single Straight Thuggin' featuring Soleil and Twista.
I was trying to slay you, rolling with my gangsters, Kane and Abel.
Rise to Power was a success, peaking at number 61 on the Billboard 200 and number 11 on the top R&B hip-hop albums chart, which was a strong indication they could really rap hustle. In year 2000, they started their own label and called it Most Wanted Records, and immediately followed up with their 5th album titled Most Wanted, which was led by the classic single Shake It Like a Dog.
You got to shake it like a, you got to shake it like a, you got to shake it like a dog. Show that work!
On October 15, 2002, the twins had released their 6th album titled The Last Ones Left, which they did without the backing from a major distributor, and it showed in the sales. It didn't chart on any billboards, it had no features. In less than 1 year, the album was taken out of print. Prior to the album's release, the brothers had began their jail time, which was the reason for the failed album and their falling from the industry. They were released in mid-2003 and immediately dropped their 7th album titled Welcome Home, which put them back on the billboards and the charts.
Drop heat for the street, kept us doing our thing. Fair time couldn't stop us, look from dropping, man.
In 2010, the brothers resurfaced, signed to E1 Music, and released their 8th album titled Back on Money, which featured Bun B, Boosie, BG, Young Jock, and a few others.
Kane and Abel, Young Jock.
Back on Money was the twins' last album as they slowly faded away from their rapping careers.
Thanks for watching. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this.